So recently seen news was in New York. We attended an event at STK Restaurant. We met the Max Cure Foundation and All for Kids. It was a great event with celebrities and children who were affected by cancer. Well, today we're in Washington, D.C. to continue to learn and be educated about pediatric cancer, the difficulties and challenges of research and treatment for kids. So here I am with, please introduce yourselves.
Donna Culliver, and this is my husband, Tim Culliver.
And we're here today at the Congressional Childhood Caucus in Washington, D.C. The bill Creating Hope Act was co-sponsored by Congressman Chris Van Hollen and Congressman Michael McCall, who spoke earlier, and they had some guests. Now, I wanted to speak with you today because I want folks out there to hear and learn about your story and how they can be educated on what they can do to help, where can they find out information, or if in case they're ever impacted by pediatric cancer.
We are affected by childhood cancer because we lost our 4-year-old son, Adam. It will be 10 years ago in January, and we basically lost Adam in a matter of 4 hours from the time he was diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia.
How old again?
He was 4 years old. Woke up from a nap on January the 16th complaining he couldn't see, eyes swollen, teeth bleeding, gums bleeding at the teeth. Rush him to a local hospital. Local hospital said he has childhood leukemia. We take him to Houston, and they tell us he has AML. By this time, his brain is swollen, and it pushed his brainstem into his body, and he was basically brain dead. He was on life support for 4 days, but removed and declared brain dead. So we took up the cause. We took up the cause that that we didn't want this to have to happen to another family. So we wanted to do something about it. So we decided to get involved and do something in his memory. And so we created Adam's Angels Ministry to help childhood cancer families. But on a national level, independently from Adam's Angels Ministry, we work with our congressman. And I'll let Tim share a little bit about what we do there.
Okay. So tell me a little bit more about the national efforts that you've taken on and what's happened since you've started your endeavor.
They're very small as far as national levels. We very small amount, like $170 million out of $5.1 billion, I think it is, goes to pediatrics. So it's very small.
Very small amount.
But also pediatric cancer represents 1 out of 100. Compared to adults. Because of that, we're getting a small digit number for our pediatric cancer. Okay, the problem we have with all of this is we have such a small group. We have 100,000 ladies show up for breast cancer. We have less than 100 people show up for pediatric cancer. Pretty much the same ratio. How can we change that? Not saying that adult cancer is more valuable or less valuable. But as a mother and father in our country today, do we put our children first? And the answer is no. It all comes down to money. There's not a specific place that you can go to and say, well, let me find out all the information about pediatric cancer, because we don't really have a good database for that. Working on it, we've tried several different things. It all seems to fall because there's just no funding. The problem with it is, in 1953, when George and Barbara Bush, his daughter, was diagnosed with cancer, which is buried at the George Bush Library at Texas A&M, the doctor said, take her home and let her die and don't tell a soul. Have we changed since 1953? The answer is no. Take them home and let them die and don't tell a soul. So how can we as a nation put childhood cancer first?
So then the Creating Hope Act.
Get involved. It's sad that we have to tack on a pediatric drug to an adult drug just to get it passed. It's sad when we get to that level, because our children should be worth more.
I can agree with you, and I'm sure many parents and folks, even without children, can absolutely agree. What do you think today, so many groups we saw were here today, and maybe we'll make efforts to, and I know there's something called Project Collaborate, trying to bring together all these different types of entities, organizations, nonprofits, focusing on pediatric cancer, and also what do you think folks can do who are already impacted by it to bring us together to recognize it?
Get involved. The hard part is 92% of the mothers and fathers divorce during pediatric cancer.
Well, and it doesn't necessarily have to impact your family. I mean, there is, it seems to be all the advocates on the Hill are families that are impacted. And these families are already devastated by having to go through the disease and fight for their child's life. So why should someone such as yourself, who doesn't have a child that's affected by cancer, you're getting involved? And this is what we need, other people to get involved. We need companies to stand behind, like Hope on Wheels, Hyundai. Come forward and get the Childhood Cancer Awareness Month out there, knowing that September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. How much focus do you see out there about that? There's not much, like October is breast cancer. It goes unnoticed. And our efforts on Capitol Hill is not only to get more funding, better drugs, but to get more noticeability on childhood cancer.
What if we could do this? September's Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, October's breast cancer, mother and child. Put the two together, pink and gold. Twine them together as a family, and talk about the two together. Let's do that for 1 year.
Hopefully, maybe some efforts can be made in that direction.
Yeah, so that we can.
And I will agree with you. And I'm here today also because I learned about the cause, pediatric cancer and childhood cancer, and you make a good point that I had a child in my life who I used to babysit. Her name was Darian, and she passed away at a very young age due to a childhood cancer. So when I heard about today, I thought I had to come. I know I'm not directly impacted, but I knew someone, and I want to learn more about what can I do, how can I get involved, because this doesn't seem to have as much attention. But but we really do need to bring attention to it, like so many of the others that get great attention. So let's see how pediatric cancer can be brought to the big forefront like others.
And it's a shame. The primary concern should be for the parents is the fight for their children and for their life. They shouldn't have to fight for more drugs and better treatment. That should be in place. We shouldn't have to go out and fight for that as well. We should be able to focus on that child.
Well, I would love for you to tell viewers how can they learn more about your story. Do you have a website or a book or
We do.
information?
We have a website. Our website is www.adams with an S, angels with an S, ministry with a Y.org. And we directly assist childhood cancer families. So I invite you to visit our website and see what we do and how we're involved and get involved.
Well, I just want to thank you then. This was a great conversation that we got to have today. I hope folks out there have learned a little bit more how they can research more, get involved, and to be aware of the challenges that pediatric cancer faces, and that it takes people like us to speak about it and to get involved, to make an impact and make a difference. So thank you both for visiting with me today.
Thank you, Kim.
Excuse me. Excuse me? There are some things you can't control.
The weather,
The front page,
cell phones ringing,
traffic,
the stock market, obviously,
hearing they love you,
or they don't.
or hearing the one thing no one wants to hear.
Cancer,
Okay, things you can control.
what you know before treatment,
Your options.
all the facts.
There's a high risk of infection during chemotherapy.
So don't let anything interrupt your fight against cancer.
Get prepared.
Get healthy,
Stay strong.
stay well,
Talk to your doctors.
and go to manageyourtreatment.com.
There are some things you can't control.
But this, you honestly can.